I'm Anna Dieters, and I started, I'm 25 now. I think if I can remember correctly, my pain really started when I was, 16, so almost 10 years ago at this point. I'd have a headache for a couple hours a day, once a week, twice a week, and then it gradually, as time went on, like over the next year after that until I was about 17, it gradually became, pain all day, every day. So at that point I was like, I should probably go see a neurologist. So I went and saw one of many. I think I did 2 or 3 medications with them, and then they were like, hey, maybe you should go see someone else. We've run out of meds to try, so I kind of did that for 4 or 5 years, seeing one neurologist a year, do one medication for 3 to 6 months, do the next set of medications for 3 to 6 months, until finally someone had said hey, you should try and go see this headache specialist. I think I was at the chiropractor, and he was stretching my neck. I'd never really been able to figure out exactly where my pain had come from before that. It just hurt all the time behind my neck. It had hurt before, but it never stopped to the point where I could really say this is where it starts, because it was that constant. So he was just stretching my neck, and when he got down here, I was like, whoa, whatever you just did, it was like pressing a button. I can tell that that's where it starts. So I went and told my neurologist that, and they said, it sounds like you might have some sort of nerve issue. He's like, you should go see a headache specialist. So I went and saw a headache specialist, and he was nice. He did a good job. He thought, for a while I maybe had POTS, so did a couple medications. He tried Botox. It didn't really help. And then he was like, maybe you have occipital neuralgia. Let's try a nerve block. So he did a nerve block. It unfortunately didn't do anything for me. So that was a little bit disheartening to try. And he was like, the next thing to try is radio frequency ablation. And I didn't really want to do that, because he had said it's a good solution, but when it stops and it comes back, it usually comes back meaner. And I was like, well, for the fact that I'm only 23, I would rather get used to the pain that I'm in now, which is terrible to say, but I'd rather be used to this level of pain than have some form of relief and then it come back worse, because then that would just be terrible. And I actually was at the eye doctor, because I have a couple eye issues with my double vision and everything, and it was this new surgeon I was going to see, and I went and saw him, and he was like, oh, it's not time for another eye surgery. It's really unfortunate that you're having these headaches. Funnily enough, I work with a surgeon, or used to work with a surgeon who fixes issues like you have. I was like, hey, I'll give it a try, right? I've kind of run out of options at this point. So I came and I did a consult with Dr. Hagen, and he said, hey, I think you have occipital neuralgia. I think you're a good candidate. Let's do a nerve block. And I was like, oh, I've had a nerve block before, but I'll try it, right? He did an ultrasound guided nerve block, and even within 2 or 3 minutes, I was at a 0. For the first time in probably 9 years at that point. Even with Tylenol and ibuprofen, it's still there. It's just kind of like a ghost, a 2 or a 3. But that was a total 0. It helped so quickly and so much that I thought I was gonna pass out. I think it must have been from adrenaline, just from the lack of pain, honestly. So they were like, okay, sit down for a couple minutes, and I was like, this is crazy. So, I was at a 0, I think for almost 24 hours at that point afterwards. So I came in, and he was like, hey, let's get you scheduled, right? So I scheduled that. We went in and did my surgery, and I think, if I remember correctly, he had said that, funnily enough, my graders, lessers, and thirds were all the same size, and normally it's the graders bigger, the thirds, they're all different sizes. He was like, they're all pretty similar in size. He's like, that's kind of crazy. And my grader on my right side was stretched and twisted in a way that he was like, there's no way anything you could have tried would probably provide you relief, medication wise, stuff like that. So he removed my graders, lessers, and thirds on this side, and my lesser and thirds on this side. And so I have most of my sensation back here. I've got some sensation on this side, but it kind of comes and goes. But healing wise, it was a process. I was at home not really doing much for probably 6 weeks, 8 weeks. But even then, afterwards, I was in a ton of pain, but I could tell hey, this is sore, it hurts, but it was a different kind of pain. I could tell that whatever was there wasn't there anymore, even though I was very sore. Hey, you had this ordeal done and we're healing, right? Even in those first couple weeks, I was like, I want to go do stuff. I was like, I don't feel like I'm tethered. Before it felt so tight that it was almost like it was tied in a knot, and it was tight. And with it being gone, and with me being able to even have so much pain relief, even in that pain, I was like, I want to go do stuff. I want to hang out with friends. I want to go to concerts and stuff.
So looking back, what would you tell someone that is hesitant about the surgery or hesitant about going to a headache specialist?
Yeah, I think my biggest thing that I thought about, because I mean, I was nervous being young, it's like when you're used to a certain type of pain, the introduction of new pain or new experiences can be kind of daunting, because it's like, hey, I'm used to what I'm feeling now, like, what if it doesn't work? What if it, makes it worse? And then I really thought about it. It's like, well, the pain that I'm in now, even a 15 to 20% relief would be life-changing. And any form of relief would be life-changing, and the fact that there was even a chance that I'd get like 50% relief was enough for me to be like, it's worth a try. Like, I'm sitting here in pain all the time. We're willing to try so many medications and injections, and it's like, well, why not try something that seems like it would help? And for the fact that I've gotten so much relief, I would say it's worth a try. I mean, I know a lot of people are a little older than I am, so it's really daunting as young as I am for the fear that I would have to live so long with the pain, being worse or being the same. But even a little bit of relief is better than none at all. And so the fact that I've gotten so much is outstanding. It really is, especially thinking that I'd maybe only get like 10%. And now I would say 100%, 98% of the time. I mean, I still have a couple days, every once in a while, but I'm still only, a year out, and other things can contribute, but yeah.
What about your parents? I mean, you were young when this started.
Yeah, I felt so bad for my dad. It was so out of nowhere. My parents are divorced. I lived with my dad when I was growing up, and I, like him seeing me in pain all the time, trying to go to school, like I didn't want to miss school. I don't like to miss work for being in pain all the time, so just trying to kind of shoulder that, and him having to kind of watch me go through that, like I don't know that I would have done it without him being there with me. Him and my stepmom are awesome. Like they were there before, during, and after. They made dinner for me every single night after my recovery. Like they'd text and be like, what do you want for dinner? It's nice to have a village to help you, because it's kind of scary not knowing what you'll be able to do and when you'll be able to do it. So at least having people there that are willing to help makes a really big difference. He took me to all my appointments, with other neurologists. He watched me go through probably 25 different medications and 5 different injections. And I remember specifically, actually, I drove to a neurologist who was nice, but they had given me Botox, and it was so painful that I couldn't even drive home. And so I remember calling him crying because it was so painful and it hurt so much. And that was kind of that point where I stopped going places for a while, and I was like, I have to just stop and take a step back and just learn to live with the pain that I'm in, because if I keep going, trying all these new things, like I was scared that I was going to make it worse. So then to go from like that, like crying and being like, can you come pick me up, to him seeing me and like total pain relief, like he is beyond ecstatic for me. We talk about it every single time he sees me. He's like, you're a totally different person. He's like, you're so much happier, you're so much more vibrant, I guess. And so he notices a huge difference in me too.